So much inside of it translated into vowels. There's a magic space inside the heart. It's like the birds, a song the mind turns into words.
What was easy is hard. I need more ease to even start. Without moving, I scan the room for a pen and a pad, a flat bucket to hold my sad. It takes energy to even believe there is a bottom to this. I don't expect a pain thief. Who wants more of death's kiss between tongue and cheek or teeth? Only so much you can squeeze before it bleeds and the ink seeps. Bringing alive letters, passion steeped, flying close to the ridged roof. Arching their backs, they swan dive together, springing off salty buds, not all landing with grace, some splatter. Splintered egos coo, evoking tears and laughter, often beauty too, and understanding about what matters to you. I crave deeper meaning, seek with persistence. Sometimes we have to make peace without it making sense. Forcing becomes a prison with a self-determined sentence. I crave drums in my body. The meter of language galvanizes my existence. A bridge between worlds, these poems. Between the solitude within my bones and my infinite home, they illuminate what's precious. When I need solace, they're a companion to my bitter bits. My tender bits, a balm for the scratchless itch, giving a name to the nameless, my blind spots. Solitary sorrow drowns us. Vultures flock. Shared sorrow connects us when vision's blocked. We are a sea beyond marrow. Percept narrows when landlocked. When what was easy is hard, and I need more ease to even start. Without moving, I scan the room for a pen.
I've come across the mirror. I see an evolution. I still believe love is a solution. I've built walls around my heart and broke them down time after time. I see a woman who has forgiven herself, who's consistent but not desperate, who's clear on what she wants and trusts God more. My life, like my lyrics, are calmer now. Every day, my mind isn't on survival, but my spirit is reflective. So when I look at myself in the mirror, I'm an evolving woman, a fearless woman, a full-hearted woman.
There was a time when life left me speechless, moving in silence. My truth, I can't speak it. I had to keep it close to my heart. I would depart in my journal, and that's where I got my start. Writing and rhyming the things I couldn't say. Freedom expression in the night and the day. I'm on a wave, and now I slay. The limiting, hating, ain't behaving into me. I'm brave. Now in the present, turning my L's into lesson with the pen and a paper, writing down all my confessions. Evolve depression into an ally. I say bye-bye to the monkey mind. I unbind, I'm realigned. It's time to shine.
Woke up early in the morning with the pain on my mind. The thoughts, see, I just couldn't leave them behind. My stomach didn't feel quite right. I tossed and turned all night. I tried to sleep tight, but I rose with the sunlight. My heart cried, but I couldn't find the tears. So scared, seemed to be running from my own fears. Years and years of pain on my shoulders. Closer to success, but the world seems colder. Looking for my center, but all I find are splitters in my skull. These bootstraps I can't seem to pull on my own. Dang, I thought being grown meant you were grown. But humbling experiences are all that I am shown. I take a nosedive deep into my soul. Only treading water when swimming is the goal. I sit upon the rock, but I can't find the roll. I was going east looking for the North Pole. Picked up my pen, picked up my paper. I said, Sincerity, give me the lyrical capers to set us free so that we can get up in the cipher, open up our hearts, and start to get hyper. What? Lyrics live. What? Hip hop. So
What?
nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, I mean, copy of that one.
All right.
Yeah. So I heard from so many of the pieces that there is this healing quality to writing.
Mhm.
So I want to hear from Sincerity and everyone here, what is it about poetry and rap and spoken word specifically that just makes you feel connected to yourself and your own mental health?
Well, for me, I feel like I share this story sometimes, but not all the time. I remember very clearly when I was maybe 5, 6 years old, very, very young, right? Um, I've always been very sentimental. And I remember crying a lot, right? And I'll never forget my mother was like, "Why are you crying? You want people to feel sorry for you? You want people to feel bad for you?" Now, mind you, my relationship with my mother has gotten a lot better through the years, right? But that was very impactful for me when I was very young and very sentimental. And that led me to know that I couldn't cry in front of people. I couldn't be emotional. I couldn't show if I was going through something. I was very, very young. Um, and so for years, I did not cry. It's like,
Mm.
and now I can't believe I didn't cry for years as a child, but I didn't cry,
Mm.
Wow.
right? Now I cry for everything.
Yeah.
Now I cry for everything and everybody. So writing became my escape. Writing became my tears. Writing became how I spoke when I felt like I was too much, like when my emotions were too much. You
Mm.
know, see, I'm getting emotional now. I remember being in high school when I finally cried, my senior year in high school. And it would be unprovoked, it would be random, and I would just bust out crying in class.
Mm.
And I remember one of my teachers, um, he would just be like, "Denise, you could, like you could go." And God bless him, because I was very depressed my senior year in high school. So I wouldn't sleep. I would be in class. He's like, "You, Denise, you want to sleep? You could sleep." So God bless those teachers that don't know, but they get it.
Mm.
Um,
Mhm.
Mr. Babecco, that's his name. So I remember I would go to my guidance counselor, and I wouldn't talk to her. She would just let me cry in her office. And
Mm.
she'd be like, "Do you want," everybody knew I was a poet. I would get up in class and start rapping or start rhyming. Like, I was also very goofy. So, I had this really, really deep time in my life where I was just like, oh, I felt like all those years of not crying finally came out.
Mhm.
Um, but I couldn't talk about it. Like, I didn't even understand. There had been so much going on in my life in general. Like, a lot of people in high school didn't know that I didn't even live with my parents in high school, right? So there's that, being a teenager, but really functioning like an adult in a lot of ways outside of school. So I would just write about it. I would just write about it. I would My counselor told me, she offered that to me, to write about it and share the letter or the poem with her without me having to say anything. So that was very, very important for me. I went on to start the first spoken word club at my high school. And just, I played sports, so I knew a lot of people, I had a lot of friends. So sometimes, everybody would just come. So from a very young age, I learned how to take initiative and was a leader in the space of writing. And I had teachers that affirmed my writing and my ability to express myself through my writing. And that
Yeah.
was very important to me as well. So when I think about Lyrics to Life and the workshop that I do offer, I know how important those moments were for me. And
Mhm.
I know how important those moments are for young people and people in general who need to express themselves, but they weren't necessarily taught how to talk about it, but they need to express themselves, right? So
Mhm.
that is my story. I want to brief of how
Poor kitty. No, but those tears serve a functional purpose,
Mhm.
right? I mean, there's the biological purpose, cleaning our eyes and that sort of thing. But the emotional release that can come from a good cry
Yes.
Mhm.
is so healthy.
And
Yeah.
it can be non-specific. It's
Yeah.
just a release, and you don't have to even try to define it. For those of you who have the same experience as Sincerity, just let yourself cry without needing to define it.
Yeah, Sincerity, when you were talking about writing and not being able to really cry for a while, the phrase that came to me is, "It hurts so good." Like, I could just see myself as a teenager writing, and to allow myself to feel that pain. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
But now, actually, through words and channeled songs, I love to freestyle sing. I do it for other people. I'll start doing it to myself now. If I sing myself a healing song, and
Mm,
actually, it's helped me communicate in my relationships freestyling. So now, when me and my husband have fights
yeah.
and we can't quite communicate, he's like, "Alex, let's just freestyle about it. Like, can you please just
I
That's
freestyle
love
about
I
it?"
amazing.
love that.
Can't lie. When you're in the flow state or when you're writing, there's a truth that comes out in this artful
Yes.
language that I feel like more people
Mhm.
can understand.
Mm,
Mhm.
I love that. Yeah.
And
Absolutely. I
also,
love
I
this.
think you say things that you don't even know you needed to say.
Mm,
And 'cause it's not even necessarily the words, but it's the way you're saying it is what needed to be communicated. It's the energy behind, because words are just symbols, right, for how we're feeling, and they're so finite. Once you make a word, it becomes a finite point, and how we feel is infinite and dynamic, and it changes. So, together, they expand the experience for us, but they never get it all. So,
mm,
that's why I think it's important to close the circle and
That was
share.
good.
mm.
That's
I'm
good.
glad that you brought up writing as a teenager, sincerity, because that diary for many of us was our therapy. It was our healing place. I know for me, that was really the only way I could really say what I really felt.
Yeah.
And I was a child that was silenced a lot. So being able to have a safe space where no one can know, and I still do that even now to this day when I'm going through whatever, I just pen to paper, write whatever it is, no judgment, because I just believe that being able to have any type of expression, being able to get it out and to be truthful with yourself, to be able to be vulnerable with yourself is so important. If you
Mhm.
can't be real with yourself, you can't be real with anybody else. And I feel like I've been able to be the realest on paper.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm the same. Like I can resonate with both of you so much, all of you actually so much. When I was a kid, I was felt very alone. So writing was a way for me to create space in my head because I was constantly running back the day and had a lot of like chatter and
Mm,
and I remember reading poems and feeling like I remember reading Where the Sidewalk Ends, uh, Shel Silverstein, and just feeling like poetry kind of was transportive, like theater.
mm,
You could be inside of a poem and be in the flow of this thing that is now this living concert, and you can embody and be in it and find clarity for yourself, because it's like any art, we find meaning that resonates with us in it, and we seem to find the very perfect one at the perfect time, right, where it finds us.
Yeah. Sincerity, it sounds like you're bringing a lot of meaning into people's lives through these programs that you're creating. I want to hear a little bit about where you've implemented all these writing programs and some of the poets that you're working with.
Oh God. Okay, so it started. I want to say 2013. Lyrics to Life, and the idea of Lyrics to Life, right, was that, and I'm paraphrasing these scriptures, but there's a couple of scriptures that talk about the power of the tongue, right, or being able to uh, like build with your words, right? So the idea of lyrics to life is giving life with your lyrics. It's literally that. It's and also I always mention you also have the ability to destroy with your words, right? So but it's your choice on what you use your words for. And that is beautiful because it hits any age group. You could be in kindergarten, you could be 30-year-old man. Like it makes sense for any age group. You literally have the power to impact yourself and others with what you say and what you speak. So that is the essence of lyrics to life, using your words to build, right? And it's not negating any form of expression, right? But it's saying like, look, for example, I worked with incarcerated men using my workshop, right? So for example, there was a lot of men that like to rap and everything, and a lot of the topics, let's say, were kind of the same, right?
Mm.
And I would challenge them to just shift the topic of what they're talking about. I'm not saying don't rap about what you rapping about. Like what I'm saying, I'm an artist too. So there's space for every type of emotion. However, I love being able to challenge somebody to like that's always rapping about gangs to rap about flowers or clouds or rain. It's very different. Or love. And it literally you see like the transformation in one session in 1 hour of how now everybody, now they want to call their wives, now they want to call their daughter.
Yeah.
So that to me is beautiful. And for the kids, just to really be like, yeah, it does matter if somebody says something like that to me, or it does matter, if I speak nice to that person, or when somebody speaks nice to me. Like it does make a difference in how I feel. Right. And so just like acknowledging that we have that power in the words that we use in itself is very powerful.
Yeah, that power is a big part of this, right? Calling your power back and how a poem can help you to do that. I
Mhm.
remember when you were working with a bunch of girls. Well, actually, we worked with girls together.
Yes.
You rhyme like a girl. What's the difference from, working with the men and
Mm.
working with young girls? What's the biggest difference for you?
Oh man. That's such a good question that I want to like answer it well. I think the biggest difference is that a lot of people don't expect the men to open up as much as they do.
Mm.
But they do. They just want somebody to offer them the space to do it.
Mhm.
And um when you are away from your family, now I'm talking about incarcerated men, when you are
Yeah.
away from your family, your loved ones, uh, and you're surrounded for the most part just by men and
Mhm.
prison and guards, and everything's very aggressive and
Yeah.
rigid. Having a feminine presence in that space is like I had and I want to like really distinguish, like, because I'm aware that I'm an attractive young woman, right? But I really want to distinguish the fact that I'm an attractive young woman with my feminine presence in that space. I think is very important. um but I remember something like, I could smell when you come in the housing area. Like they could tell before I open my mouth that I came in. And I think that that is very, and they don't even realize how that is very like spiritual a lot of times, but it's very real. And so there's been men that cried in these groups, speaking about their moms, or speaking about their trauma, or speaking about the shame that they felt because they couldn't be in their children's lives. Um and it's like, to me, that was very impactful, because I'm just like, I saw every individual as a human, and I wanted so much for the world to see them as the human beings that they are. And I wasn't able to, I'm not able to have the world see them as human, but through their writing, they saw themselves as that, because they're often called animals. And
Yeah.
they're often called everything but men who are needed by their
Ooh,
family. So
that's good.
one thing that I was always, always mindful of telling them was like, you know, we need each other. I hate this
Gender
men
wars.
and against women. We need each other. And I truly, truly believe that. And I was like, your home needs you.
Mhm.
Like, regardless of what they tell you over the phone, regardless
Right.
of who's cursing you out,
Mhm.
Yeah.
you're in here, and the people that love you are angry you're in here too. And
Mhm.
Yeah.
often, as humans, we use that anger towards each other when we're really angry at something much bigger, something we can't control.
Mhm.
And
That's a powerful insight, sincerity. That's
yes,
powerful.
and so it was beautiful for them to kind of like really listen. Like when I tell you these men would be quiet, and then of course there'd be that one person walking by that's not in group talking about, oh, y'all in class now, like, but it was a really beautiful space because they would be very quiet and they would listen to a woman tell them that they're important and that they are loved, and that yes, you fighting with your family, you fighting with the world oftentimes, but there's only that frustration because you can't be together. You're not there, but your home needs you. um and when you think
Yeah.
about how many men are taken away from the home, and then when
Yeah.
you think about how many men are taken away from the block, and then when you
Yeah.
think about how many men are taken from our communities, you start to think
Yeah.
of what a major impact that is
Right.
for us, especially Black and brown, right?
Yeah.
um and what that means for us functioning
Yeah.
in our society, and just being so regular for us to have a loved one that's not there because of
Yeah. We
incarceration.
we 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 normalize it, and I think that's one of the reasons why the cipher work that we do is so important,
Yeah.
because we need to foster safe spaces for men now more than ever.
Yes.
In this age where so much is happening, where mental health issues are so pervasive, where
Mhm.
physical health issues are taking lives in every community at
Mhm.
every level, and we don't talk about that enough. How many more men are dying than
Mhm.
women, and how young they're dying younger.
40,
Yeah.
50. And it comes from and a lot of times it's heart attacks, right?
Also loneliness.
Yeah.
Loneliness is one of the biggest problems among men, actually, especially as they get older. I feel like for women, culturally, we connect more and talk about our emotions. So you being a feminine presence in that space and teaching men how to allow themselves to
Yeah.
express through art in that way is just so powerful.
I do want to say that many of these men were already very creative and expressive. They just wouldn't share.
Yeah.
um, you
Yeah.
know, or they would share content that they were comfortable sharing with, but they wouldn't share the heart stuff. And so when they start sharing the heart stuff, and I would have people tell me, like, we wouldn't be all here together, like this group of people and this group of people in the same table if you wasn't here. So to me, that was often, because I did go through a lot, and I don't even want to talk about that part right now, but I did go through a lot working in the jails. And because people weren't used to somebody just caring because they care.
Well, this is why it's so important
Yeah.
for the feminine divine to show up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Michelle, Takia, chime in. This is why the feminine divine is so important, because in all of my years of doing the cipher work, I figured out that women facilitate ciphers more efficiently, more effectively, and with much more impact than men. And
Yeah.
even if everybody else is a man,
Mm.
a woman facilitating the energy and the getting open
Yeah.
makes it so much sweeter, so much better.
Yeah.
There's something special about us
Yes.
being able to create a space and also show up as whole in our wholeness,
Yeah.
right? So sometimes there are people that can like create a space, but then they aren't able to also show up in that space and give room for everyone to be in also be in their wholeness,
Mm.
right? And
Um,
that's what the world needs right now.
yes. Yes, that's such a beautiful point. You know, I'm 5'2". And at the time I gained some weight, but I was probably like 135 at the time when I was working in the jail. And so, a lot of the most common questions like, are you scared? And I'm like, no.
Mm, mm.
What? This guy
It's
told me
also
about his childhood trauma. This guy told me about this and that. Like, like there's I'm not scared. These are I couldn't say that at the time. I'm like, these are my brothers.
mm,
But you know what that makes me think about when I'm so glad that you talked about the divine feminine energy in those spaces, because I'm thinking about the chakras, and the sacral chakra is where we have our mother wound, and
Mm,
it connects to water, and it connects to freedom of expression. And when you
mm,
think about these men who maybe it was flipped the other way, where they maybe did acts, or maybe they didn't, some of them were unjustly put into these jails. they just needed a place for that energy to be. So you come in and you're giving them that mothering and that nurturing energy. I think it's just human nature. We need that space. So
Yeah.
yes, being able to write it on the pages. Look at Tupac Shakur. Like, obviously he was already rhyming before he went into to jail, but when he was in there, he was writing plays and writing so much music. So it
Mhm.
is it is definitely a godsend that we have pen and paper. Before
Mhm.
we had hieroglyphics, we were writing things on the wall,
Mhm.
because we definitely understand that there's honor in word and expression and symbolism.
Yeah.
I'm curious about your work also, Sincerity. In I can see and imagine this transformation that happens within the men that you work with. And so how did that translate when they would then communicate with their families in this kind of changed way, or they had a desire to communicate from their heart? Were they met with the ability to do that?
I loved how they would be like, yo, Miss G, I'm gonna call my mom. Yo, Miss G, I'm gonna call my girl. And then
Mhm.
read the poem that they wrote to them on the phone.
Mm.
So that was beautiful for me because I am big on family. I'm big on families being together. I'm big on us like I'm big on us just having just being together, being united. We just need to be so united. And I do want to share very briefly because I did share more on the men. When Tony asked about the girls, I think that one thing that I love to see about the girls is like their confidence, you know,
Mm.
their confidence just be like, ooh, like I sound good. I'm kind of good at this. Like they just needed that little push and it's a wrap.
Mm.
And to see another woman do it with confidence,
Mm.
you know.
Mhm.
My niece, she was in one of my workshops, and English is her second language. So she used to stutter. She used to be very like, "Ugh," like in front of class presentations. So when she finished my workshop, and she was like, "Dia, I did a class presentation and I didn't stutter, and everybody was clapping for me." They ended up inviting her to do a poem for her graduation. And it was just like, it to me, like, obviously she's my niece, but if it would have been anybody, it warms my heart because I'm just like,
Mm.
like stuttering can take confidence away. Speaking in the second language takes confidence. Like you just have to believe in yourself and have somebody to tell you you can do it. Like being to read it and read what she wrote and be like, this is amazing. She was like, really? Like, yes, what you mean? This is amazing. And it was. And just being able to offer that to young girls also is very special because obviously I was a young girl, so I know how it's like.
What's an exercise that you would say is like something people can do in their journals at home, to
Oh,
help them out if they're
I like
going through something?
I like that. So the exercise that or the poem that I read today was actually from an exercise that I did with the guys. And it's I stumbled across a mirror and then they had to finish it. Right. So it's like I stumbled across the mirror. I came upon a mirror and what do I see? So it's that's one of the prompts that I had for them. And it was, very reflective. I also use one that I think is very common as far as what do you write to your younger self. And we talked about why we chose those ages. I didn't give them no age limitation. Some would write when they were 7, some would write to themselves when they were 15. um and I think it's really cool because some of them might be 20 in there and some of them might be 50 something in there. So but just to see those perspectives of like, and then listening to why they chose the ages that they chose uh was very nice. And I think that those are therapeutic themes, right? Because what are you when you see yourself in the mirror, when you look at yourself, like what do you see? Sometimes it's not pretty things, right? um but being able to be like, despite this, like I could see that for myself too. So there is just, it could go many different ways. And so those are two prompts that I really like to do if you're feeling very reflective. And if you don't want to get too deep into it, then write a gratitude list. write what you are grateful for today. You know?
Simple. I love that. I do that writing exercise every year
Yeah.
where I write to my younger self.
Mhm.
And it's always very powerful. I often share it on Facebook and people respond as if I've never posted that before. Because I'm, you know me, I keep it 100 about what's going
Right.
on with me. I'm wondering, as we get close to our end,
Yeah.
how can people reach you if they want to book you to do Lyrics to Life program or to do a workshop session? How does
Mm.
that work?
Sincerity Garcia at gmail.com. So just as you see it on this, it's on this side. Just as you see it on the screen at gmail.com. Sincerity Garcia at gmail.com. You can book me.
What's
You know,
coming up? What's coming up next for you?
I have a couple of music releases. There's something I can't talk about quite yet, which I'm very excited for. I still started my lip balm line, so I'm getting ready for pre-orders. And I am working on a compilation of the poems that I've written in my workshops, because when I offer these prompts, I do the prompts myself. So I have a compilation of those poems out as well.
Okay.
Awesome.
I love it.
It's
So I
so
think it's
beautiful.
a good year, right, y'all?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I just want
multi-talented.
Yeah.
I just want to acknowledge just how cathartic it is. Probably all can relate to the pain leading us to our purpose.
Yeah.
Being denied the ability to express, leading you to writing, leading you to helping people transform their lives with writing. It's just such a beautiful
Yeah.
circle of life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it takes courage to follow it too, especially
Right.
when it's not mainstream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just
Can
kudos.
can I share a poem from one of the participants?
Please.
Yes,
Was
please.
just
I'm sorry, I don't have it on deck. This is improvised. Give me 2 seconds, okay?
Yeah, I think it's amazing to hear her talk about this work.
Mhm.
I've never heard her speak so fluidly about a thing before, so you could tell it's all heart. It's heart centered. It's heart centered
Mhm.
work. It's the work she was called to do, meant to do. I think all of us do the work. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But it's really interesting when you know someone and you know when they're in the zone, in the flow.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you, thank you, thank
So, Chell, does that happen with you with movement?
Absolutely. I love getting into my zone. When I'm in it, it's like nothing else matters. Time stops. I feel like I can shift time. It's
Yeah,
just, whenever I'm doing my work, is nothing else matters.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Beautiful.
It's magic. I don't know another word for it.
It is magic.
That's
It
right.
is.
It's true.
All right. So can I share this poem?
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
Again, it was one of the it was a piece that really stuck to me. I have so many, but this one was right there. It's called The 3 R's: Reflections, Reformation, and Resilience. This is by Justin Smith. He says, as the sirens blare, I stop and stare, wondering what happened. Just a minute ago, I performed on stage and everyone was clapping. Woo, it went by so fast, just like that. Years and years as time went by that I could never get back. I feel so stupid, and I should be ashamed of myself because I have so much talent, wasting it away in prison life just because I'm so violent. No, not anymore, Satan. You won't get me. I'm changing my ways in life so God will set me free. Because deep down inside, I know that this isn't a place that I'm supposed to be. I should be out there shining in the world just so everyone could see. A star so bright like a blinding light, a beacon in the distance. It's time to take a stand, everyone, and start to form the resistance. Forward we march with a plan this time, reaching our destination. Come one, come all, everyone, as this is our invitation. Pick up with pace, time's a wasting because we won't be waiting to board a journey with the one and only for an everlasting vacation. I know you doubt what I'm talking about, but everything I say is true. Why look around at everyone else when you know I'm talking to you?
Oh, my thing was muted, so you
I
couldn't
have
hear me.
chills.
Oh,
Yes.
I
Mm.
love that. That's powerful. That's
Such a
very
unique perspective, too, you know?
Mm-hmm.
His journey is his own.
Yes.
Mm.
I have so many of these, countless of these. So you can imagine my heart just like,
Mm.
cracking wide open. Well,
yes.
I feel like we needed to. We don't have a lot of time today because I know everybody has things this evening. So we won't get into a cipher. I really feel like having a cipher right now, but I know everybody got things to do. But in terms of affirmations, we could close with affirmations. I made note of a few here, and let me share them. My creativity is a powerful tool for healing and self expression. I trust in my creative instincts to guide me towards wellness and inner peace. I honor my creative spirit and allow it to flow freely, bringing me joy and healing. I love and approve of myself. That's
Yes.
all. It's
Yes.
another episode,
Wrapped.
another conversation. I love that we're evolving. I love that we're growing. I love that we're transitioning to video. So for our listeners, we are figuring this out. Um, I was distracted in the beginning because I'm not in my home studio. I'm at home with family, so things are going on. So I had to move locations. But the vibes were so strong. My energy just centered right back up, and here I am.
Mm.
Yeah. But I love y'all.
Love you too.
Too.
Love you too.
This is the Lyrical Meditation Cycle podcast where we
Yes.
breathe,
Breathe, we
we
spit,
spit,
It
and
and
we
and we
back.
vibe.
and we'll be back next Monday, same time, with a special guest who is a comedian and a performing artist and an entrepreneur. She's bad. She's dope. And we hope that you guys will take a listen and tune in then. I am Tony Blackman here with Alexandra, Sanchel Brown, Sincerity, and Takia Geddes. And we are the Lyrical Meditation Cipher Podcast. Peace, y'all.
Peace.
Peace.